Well, scammers are getting better at leveraging technology to defraud people, from deep fake videos to phishing emails. It's getting harder to identify a scam.
And it's not just adults who can fall victim to a scam. Experts say anyone can be targeted. New data from the state shows nearly half of scam victims aged 19 and younger reported losing money. Nearly 7,000 people in their 30s say they were scammed. And those 80 and older lost the most money on average with these scams. Now, one of the top scams currently plaguing the county involves jury duty and court impersonation. These scams often succeed because scammers pose as real Santa Barbara County Sheriff's deputies.
And Christina Perkins, chief investigator at the district attorney's office, hosts a podcast, and it's called Scam Squad, where she recently featured a local woman who shared her firsthand experience.
Good afternoon. This is Sheriff Jack Sevier with the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office.
Ashley, who's from Santa Barbara County, received one of these calls claiming she had failed to appear for jury duty.
So now you have two charges against you, one for contempt of court and one for withholding evidence.
She said the call felt real until she says the scammer made this mistake.
Excuse me, I've been married for a while now. Why did you just call me by my maiden name? And he said, oh, they're very similar. That must have just been a typo. I thought it was a typo.
The scammer then instructed Ashley to withdraw $5,000 and post bail at a specific location. But another mishap raised more red flags.
Are you close to, and he named some address, Goleta. Sergeant, excuse me, how long again have you worked in the county? And he said 10 plus years, which is what tracked on his LinkedIn profile that I had Googled while speaking to him.
Ashley grew more suspicious and asked about the trial. That's when Ashley realized the judge for the trial was her aunt.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know that I was supposed to appear in your court on August 8th or whatever it was at 9 a.m. Is this real? And she said, I didn't have court that day. And I said, someone told me I am in contempt of court for not coming to your courtroom as an accurate witness. And she said, hang up the phone immediately. This is a scam.
And Christina Perkins, chief investigator at the Santa Barbara County District Attorney's Office, joins us now. That's an amazing call.
Thank you so much for being here. And this woman was really smart the way she handled it. Now, that was one example of a warrant scam. What are some other tactics people should be aware of?
So the goal of the scammers is to scare you. So they'll use many tactics. What we've seen recently with the calls is they can fish it. So you look like they're actually calling from the sheriff's department or the police department. So you can't trust when you look at your phone that it is indeed the sheriff's department or police department calling. They'll spoof that phone number. So those are some of the tactics that we see. They'll also keep you on the line. So in some instances we see that they'll say the jury that you missed was a very important federal case and there's a gag order and you can't talk about it. So when you go to the bank and you withdraw your money, you can't say anything to the teller about what's happening. So they'll use tactics like that to keep you on the line and be able to coach you to the very end of the process, which is to ultimately give them money.
Yeah, and this lady, like we said, is really smart the way she did.
Yes.
So they keep her on the line. She's typing away on the computer, trying to back up and verify, get this person to say as much so she can check it almost in real time.
Yes.
What kind of advice would you give folks to try and protect themselves, not just themselves, but family members from scams like this?
So with the warrant scam, just to let viewers know, that law enforcement will never call you and tell you have a warrant and demand payment over the phone. Law enforcement just won't do that. So if you receive a phone call like that saying that you have a warrant, hang up. It's as easy as that. Now I know callers, when you receive a phone call like that, it's not easy to do that. You're scared. You think maybe I do have a warrant out for my arrest. I don't know. Maybe I didn't show up for jury duty. I even had an instance where the gentleman knew he didn't show up for jury duty. So he was scared. So I recommend calling your local law enforcement agency. Don't use the phone number that they called you from. Look up the actual verified phone number from the sheriff's department or the police department and call them and say, hey, I just received this call. Is this real?
And if somebody does fall for a scam, what type of recourse is out there for them?
So the first is to please report it to law enforcement. Unfortunately, it's usually very difficult to recover money, which is why I'm really appreciative to have me on, and we really want to get the information out there so people don't fall victims to scams to begin with. But the advice I give is please report it. I've heard from so many people, they're so embarrassed and they're ashamed and they don't tell anyone.
That's a big part of it.
It's a
isn't it?
huge part.
Yeah.
I've had friends and colleagues. I have a colleague that was a victim of a scam, and she didn't tell me for a year.
Whoa.
Right. So please don't be embarrassed. Please don't be ashamed and report it. Anyone can be the victim of a scam.
We know the romance scams and the
Oh,
gift
yeah.
cards. Those are two popular
Yes,
ones
yes.
too, where people really lose a lot of money.
So, and I know one thing is being educated, keeping up
yeah.
on it. So, talk about your podcast just briefly. I know we're almost out of time, but tell us what's the name of it again so people
it's
can find
Scam
it.
Squad. You can find it on any podcast, Apple, Spotify, and it's a weekly podcast. And we tape on Mondays, and it's usually aired on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
And that'll keep you up to date.
Yes.
So you know what's out there.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having
Christina
me.
Perkins from the DA's office, thank you so much, and we will have you back
Thank you.
again. All right, thank you.